Well, hello. So I thought we'd do a 30-minute practice in the evening this time. The other live streams have been at 6 in the morning, but I thought, well, let's see who can make it at 6 o'clock p.m. So welcome if you're joining live or if you're joining later on the recorded class. So we'll just start today actually laying down. So go ahead and come on to your back. And as you come to rest on your back, go ahead and bend your knees. And then with your feet resting on the floor, just drop your knees in toward each other. Just start to feel how the legs can support each other here. And it's also a little less taxing on the hip flexors, especially if you've been sitting a lot today at your desk or anywhere else. It can be nice to start with a little bit of a bend in the knees. And then perhaps it becomes comfortable to close your eyes as well as you start to land in the space that you're in. And take a few slightly deeper breaths in and out through the nose. Starting to feel the weight of the body fully resting into the floor or any props that you might be using if you like to rest with a pillow or a blanket in some fashion. All right, now from here, we'll take both knees in toward the chest and just give them a gentle squeeze. Rock a little bit from side to side. All right, let your left leg straighten out along the floor. And then with your right knee still drawn in toward your chest, go ahead and let your arms rest on the floor and then start to rotate through the right hip. So the right knee draws a big circle in space. So this movement doesn't have to be very exact. You can make your circles pretty big. You can make them small, or you can explore several different sizes of circles, just checking and feeling how does it feel to rotate through the hip today, and then change direction. Take another slightly deeper breath in and out. All right, now as you take your right knee into your chest, give it a squeeze again, and then we'll move that rotation into the ankle. So just start to rotate through your right ankle, wiggle the toes, move them around in space. All right, and then cross the right leg over toward the floor on the left side. You just want to arrange your body so your hips are kind of stacked. So your right hip is on top of your left hip. Now it might mean that the right knee comes all the way to the floor, or you might wish to put something soft underneath it, like a pillow or a blanket. And then we'll take the right hand to the right shoulder and just begin to circle now through the right shoulder. All right, then change directions. All right, now as you sweep your right arm all the way up and over to the right, perhaps the arm rests all the way on the floor or a pillow or a blanket, depending on what makes it most comfortable for you. And then just let the head sway a bit from side to side. And then when you find that place where the head and neck are most comfortable, just let them rest. And we'll take 3 deep breaths. All right, now ease your right leg back to center and release it along the floor. Pause for a full breath. Sometimes it feels like the leg that you were just moving is now a mile longer. All right, so we'll do that whole little sequence on the other side. So just start by taking your left knee into your chest. Give it a gentle squeeze. And then leaving the leg drawn in, let the arms come to rest on the floor and start to rotate through your hip. So left knee starts to draw a big circle in space. You might do several sizes of circle. Take some small circles. All right, then change direction. All right, now take the left knee back into the chest. Again, give it a squeeze, and then move the rotation into your left ankle. Start to wiggle the toes in space. Rotate a few times each way through the ankle. All right, now take your left knee over towards the floor on the right side. Remember that you're stacking your hips here so that your left hip is on top of your right hip. And then if this left knee doesn't come all the way to the floor, maybe put a block or a bolster, blanket, pillow underneath it, whatever you might have, for a little bit of support. And then left hand to left shoulder, we'll start to rotate. Feeling into the left shoulder. All right, and then change directions. All right, now take the left arm all the way up and over to the left, allowing the arm to rest on the floor or a prop as needed. And again, let the head sway side to side gently a few times. Find the most comfortable place for your head and neck to rest. And take 3 deep breaths. All right, then guide that left leg back to center and release it along the mat. Again, pause a moment, take a full breath. All right, let the knees bend once again. And this time, cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Take your legs into your chest, grab through for the left leg, and then just start to rock a little bit from side to side. All right, now we'll take our hands behind the left knee so that the left leg can straighten. Stand up through your heel, and then point up through your toes. Again, reach up through the heel, and point through the toes. All right, now as you release your left foot down to the floor, let this right leg slide the rest of the way over so that you're kind of crossing at the thighs, sort of like you're sitting in a chair and just crossing your legs. Just crossing at the thighs. And then take the legs back into the chest. So now with the knees staying pretty close together, take the feet wide. Now you can grab whatever is most comfortable for your proportions. So some of us might grab near the feet, the shins, the knees, maybe even underneath the lower legs, but the feet are nice and wide apart. So you can probably feel how this posture is similar but slightly different to the last one that you were just in. Now go ahead and flex your feet and see if that changes any awareness all the way up each leg and into your hips. We'll take 3 more breaths. All right, now release both feet down to the floor. Sway the knees a few times from side to side. All right, then we'll cross the left ankle over the right thigh. Guide the legs back in, grabbing through for your right leg. And again, rock a little bit from side to side. Feeling now into the left hip. right, take your hands behind your right knee so that your right leg can straighten. Extend up through your heel. Point up through the toes. And reach through the heel. And point through the toes. All right, so as you take the right foot down to the floor, just cross the left leg the rest of the way over so you're crossing at the thighs. Guide the legs back into the chest and just take your feet wide apart. So remember, you can grab whatever is comfortable for your proportions. So it might be your feet, it might be your shins, your knees. Maybe your hands come underneath the lower legs and hug the thighs in. And again, noticing how this posture affects your left hip in a similar but slightly different way to the pose that you were just in. Flex your feet. And notice if you can kind of sense all of that sensation up your legs and into your hips by flexing your feet. All right, we'll take 3 more breaths. All right, now as you release your feet down to the floor, we'll roll to one side and press up onto hands and knees. All right, so as we come to hands and knees, we'll take the hands about shoulder distance apart, knees about hip distance apart, and just start with a little bit of a swaying of the hips from side to side. All right, and then we'll take the hips forward and back. All right, now as you next take your hips forward, then take them over to the left and back and right and forward. Left and back and right and forward, so that you start to create a circular movement. Feeling the leg bones as they rotate up in hips, and all of the muscles and connective tissues that are affected by this fairly simple movement. All right, the next time your hips go back, change directions, going left and forward and right and back. Left, forward, right, and back. And just do that a few more times. Now start to make your circles smaller and smaller. So you start to feel like you're spiraling back to relative stillness, with hands under shoulders and knees under hips. All right, now from here, we'll step the left foot forward to the left hand. And just step into a short lunge as you lift your torso up, your knees over your ankle, and your right hip is over your knee. All right, so we'll take the right hand over to the left leg, and then sweep the left hand forward and up, and back and down. Rotate several times here through your shoulder. Spread the left fingers wide apart. All right, now the next time your left arm reaches back, go ahead and stay in the twist. Turn your head to look back towards your left hand, and then start to turn that palm up and then down. And let the movement not just be up and down, but let it be a movement that rotates the entire arm in and then out. All right, now take a breath in as your left hand comes forward, breathing out as your hands come down to the floor, and then step forward into a forward fold. Bend your knees enough to lay your torso on your thighs or close to it. You might even step your feet a little wider than hip distance if the backs of your legs or even your back itself are feeling tight today. Release the weight of your head, shake it out a few times. Shaking yes, shaking no. Relax the muscles of your face and your jaw. All right, with an inhalation, rise to stand. Just walking the hands up the fronts of the legs. Sweep the arms out and up. Join the hands above the head. And then hands come down to your heart. Fold forward. Come back to hands and knees. Now before we do the second side, we'll come into downward facing dog. So tuck your toes under, lift your knees, take your hips up and back. All right, lift and lower the heels several times. Feeling into the feet, the ankles, the backs of the legs. All right, take a breath in as you come forward to plank pose. So your shoulders come over your wrists. Straighten out from your head to your feet. Your belly draws in. And then exhale, lift back up. Downward facing dog. We'll do that 2 more times. Breathing in, slowly come forward. Finding your plank. Lengthen from head to feet. Draw the belly in toward the spine. Exhale, lift back up. All right, last one. Inhale forward. Finding your plank. And exhale back to downward dog. All right, as you release down to your knees, this time it'll be the right foot stepping forward into our short lunge. So knee over ankle with the front leg, hip over knee with the back leg. Take your left hand to your right knee, and then right hand sweeps forward and up, and back, and down. Rotating a few times now through the right shoulder. Spread the right fingers wide apart. All right, now the next time that your right arm goes back, go ahead and pause there in the twist. Turn your head to look back. And as you look back at the right hand, begin to turn the palm up and then down. And then let that turning travel all the way up your arm so that it becomes an entire rolling in and rolling out of the shoulder, the arm, and the hand. All right, take one more breath. All right, sweep the right hand forward. Both hands come down to the floor and step forward into your forward fold. Once again, bending the knees so that your torso can lay on your thighs or close to it. Release the weight of the head. Shake it out, yes and no. All right, now walk your hands up the fronts of your legs. Come up to stand. Sweep the arms out and up. Join the hands above the head. And then bring the hands down to the heart. Go ahead and stay standing for the moment. Step your feet wide apart. We're going to step into Goddess Warrior pose. So you want to step wide enough that your knees are essentially over your ankles. So your lower legs are pretty much straight up and down. And you want to start to feel the knees press slightly back toward the pinky toe of each foot. So you really feel your hips engage and you feel a lengthening or an opening in your inner thighs. All right, balance out the weight between your 2 feet. Both legs are strong. Take the arms up at shoulder height, bend the elbows, and then squeeze your shoulder blades together. Now we'll take 10 rounds of breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Last breath. All right, slowly straighten the legs, release the arms. Take the feet to just about hip distance apart And just let your arms sway side to side, like they're the sleeves of a coat, just flopping side to side. All right, now step near the back of the mat. Take the palms together in front of the heart. With your inhalation, squat into chair pose. So you'll move your hips back and your hands forward. Now, if it feels okay for the shoulders, maybe the arms come all the way up alongside the head, but only if it feels okay. Now, as you exhale, press into your heels, rise to stand, release your arms. A couple more times, breathing in, finding chair pose. Breathing out, rise to stand, press into your heels, lift through your head. Again, inhale, squatting back. Exhale to stand. Last one, inhale. Now this time as you exhale, fold forward and walk out to one more down dog. All right, now release down to your knees. Come into a seated position with your legs extended forward. Now let your right leg be straight. Bend your left knee, walk the foot in, just about halfway. Take your left hand to the floor behind you and let your right arm hug your left leg. So if the elbow coming around the front of the shin is not comfortable, maybe you just take your hand to the shin if that works better. All right, as you inhale, grow tall. And as you exhale, twist to the left. Turn the head to look back and then close the eyes. Maintain the twist from the shoulders downwards, but then just let your head continuously turn back over to the right and back over to the left several times. Now the next time that you look forward towards your right foot, go ahead and release the twist and switch legs. So let the left leg straighten out. Bend the right knee, walk the foot in just about halfway. Right hand to the floor behind, and then the left arm hugs the right leg. Take a breath in as you lengthen tall. And as you breathe out, twist to the right. Turn the head, close the eyes. And then let your head and neck continuously turn back to the left and back to the right. All right, now the next time that you turn your head to look towards your left foot, go ahead and release the twist. Straighten out the right leg, lean back into both hands, let the feet flop in and out a few times, letting that sense of ease travel all the way up your legs and into your hips. All right, now go ahead and come down onto your back. As you come onto your back this time, check to see if, as we started, is it more comfortable to keep the knees bent, dropping in towards each other with the feet on the floor, or would you be more comfortable straightening your legs? Now, of course, if you have props like a bolster, a blanket, something that you can support underneath your knees, you're welcome to use that. But just take a moment to make yourself comfortable. And as you start to relax into the floor, notice where your attention goes. Are you aware of particular sensations within the body that you might not have noticed even just 25 minutes ago? Are you aware of the sensations of contact where your body touches the floor or your clothing or any props you might be using. And then notice the way that the breath is flowing in and out of the body. Can you find a sense of ease in the breath? Without necessarily trying to control or change your breath, see if you can invite some ease. So really, if you haven't already, just let the belly, as well as the chest and the back, all expand as much as they need to when you breathe in. Let everything relax as you breathe out. As you continue to observe the movement of breath flowing in and out of your body, now begin to invite the exhale to be a little bit longer than the inhale. And so if you like to count your breath, that's one way that you can kind of experience the length difference. And so if you'd like to count your breath, you can breathe into the count of 6, and then out to the count of perhaps 7 or 8 or 9, or however long you can allow your exhale to be. If those starting numbers feel too high, just start with breathing into 3, breathing out to 4 or 5 or 6. And so as you observe and feel your breath, again, just simply inviting the exhale to be a bit longer than the inhale. Now, after the end of your next exhalation, you can choose whether you'd like to stay here in this resting position, observing and monitoring your breath for a few more minutes or however long you might have today. But when you feel ready, slowly turn over onto one side. Gradually press yourself up, nice and slow, to come into a seated position. But again, if you have time to stay lying down and you want to, let yourself do that. Now, if you are coming to seated, we'll join our palms in front of the heart. And as we join our palms, we bow to the light within our own hearts, as well as the hearts of each other. Namaste. Thank you again for being present. So it's my aim to do one of these once a week. So the next one will be next week. Bye.